All right, let's get into it. Have you ever found yourself giving a 5-minute backstory for a simple no? Yeah, if that sounds familiar, this is for you. We're going to break down why over-explaining isn't some kind of personal flaw, but actually something much, much deeper. It's a reflex, one that's been wired into you for a long time. I mean, does this question just hit you right where you live? That constant nagging feeling that you have to justify taking up space, making a choice, or even just being quiet for a minute. It's like you always have to prove your own right to be here. And this, right here, is the big idea we're digging into today. This isn't about you being too much or annoying, not at all. This is about a super smart system your brain built, probably a long time ago, just to keep you safe when your world felt anything but. So let's talk about the feeling itself. What does this reflex actually feel like when it's happening, right in the moment? It's this, right? It's so physical. That sudden pressure, that tightness in your chest. And your brain just starts screaming that if you're not perfectly, 100% crystal clearly understood, something awful is going to happen. It's an internal alarm bell. And man, does it feel real. So where on earth does an intense reaction like that come from? Well, to figure that out, we've got to go way back to the blueprint that was drawn up when you were a kid. A really important idea here is something called parentification. Basically, this is when a kid has to step up and take on adult roles. Becoming the family peacemaker, the emotional manager, the responsible one. You learn really, really early that your safety depends on how well you can manage everything and everyone around you. And this is where it all clicks into place. If you grew up around adult moods that were all over the place, totally unpredictable, you adapted, you had to. You became an expert mood manager. And in what are called high contingency settings, which is basically a fancy way of saying situations where what you did had a really big immediate consequence, like you had to stop a fight from breaking out, you learned that words were your best weapon. They were your shield. So over-explaining? That became your go-to move to stop a conflict before it could even get started. Okay, so let's see how this childhood blueprint gets hardwired into your brain, creating this automatic security system that's just always running in the background of your adult life. All that childhood training leads to a state of hyper-vigilance. And the source material has this absolutely brilliant phrase for it. Your brain develops mirror neurons on steroids. Think about that. It means you don't just see that someone's upset, you practically download their emotion right into your own body. You feel what they're feeling instantly. And this whole process is lightning fast. It happens in milliseconds. First, your brain scans the room and you pick up on the tiniest shift in someone's face or their tone of voice. Step 2, your nervous system just blares the alarm. Threat detected. Step 3, your brain does this super quick calculation. Okay, I can fix this if I just explain. And finally, execute. You launch right into that monologue to neutralize the threat and make the whole situation feel safe again. But look, this system, as smart as it was for surviving back then, it's not free. This constant performance, this never-ending security audit, it comes at a huge, huge personal cost now that you're an adult. Just pause and really look at this for a second. Look at where your energy is going. It's this invisible, exhausting drain. The vast majority of your battery is being spent on the performance of explaining and all the worrying that goes with it, and it leaves almost nothing left over for you, for actually just living. And here's the really crucial part. This reflex, it's isolating. Because you're trying so hard to manage every single interaction, you end up doing all the emotional work yourself. You might think you're putting up healthy boundaries, but what's really happening is you're building fortress walls. You're teaching yourself that needing help or needing anyone is dangerous. And this quote, wow, this really gets to the very heart of the burnout, doesn't it? There's a real sadness here, a grief for the freedom you never got to have. The freedom to be imperfect, to be messy, to be quiet, to be unsure, to just be, without having a defense attorney working 24/7 inside your head. So the reflex is real and the cost is high. We get that. But here's the good news. You can update this old operating system. It's not about trying to delete the program. It's about installing a new one right alongside it. Look at this comparison right here. The old OS runs on this deep-seated belief that your worth is tied to how useful you are, how well you can manage other people's feelings. But the new OS, it makes a radical shift. Your peace becomes the priority, and you realize you are not responsible for anyone else's emotional state. Silence isn't a failure, it can be a form of clarity. This right here, this is the work. It's about truly believing your worth is just a given. It's not tied to what you do for others. It's about giving yourself permission to be a total beginner at receiving care, which can feel absolutely terrifying. It's understanding that when you refuse to do the old song and dance, you're not being cold. You're practicing self-preservation. And maybe most of all, it's knowing that your internal peace is so much more valuable than someone else's comfortable, perfect understanding of you. So I want to leave you with this final thought to chew on. We're so often taught that silence is a void, right? An empty space that needs to be filled. But what if we completely reframe that? What if your choice to not explain isn't a failure to communicate, but is actually the clearest communication of all? What if it's a statement that simply says, I am here, and that is enough?